What's up, everybody? My name is Big Scoon,
This is Telejon the Don,
and this is
Scum
Scoon's.
Speech.
Do we choose who we keep around, or do our current habits choose for us?
Dang, that's a good one. I mean, I like to say it's as cognitive as we choose who we keep around, but it could be something to do with our habits too. I could agree with both of these, but I don't know. I mean, if you're cognitively choosing it, it's you because you choose your habits too. Like, if you're strong enough mentally and all that, you're kicking habits out the window.
It's interesting because it's just like I just thought about family for a sec, and it's like, man, like there is no kicking family though, right? It's like if you
I
know what I
don't
mean
know.
by that, like
That depends on who you ask too. I mean, blood is one thing, you can't change that, buddy, but yo, I don't talk to if I don't want to, I don't talk to nobody.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Now it's like bleeding into other stuff. Because do you think it's all right to cut family off at some point?
Yeah, if they're doing something foul or whatever, man, and they're not lining up with what your future's lining up to do, yeah, absolutely, man. You gotta do what you gotta do to keep the peace or yourself or whatever it might be, whatever you're trying to do.
I mean, now that we're because we see how habits can play a big part in it, and it's like I don't know, is it even weird that we have friends now or like then because of that?
Yeah, I think so for sure. Cause why? You know?
It's like if I like doing what you like to do, then you like doing what I like to do. I mean, and then if it's like, all right, well, if we were gonna do it anyways by ourselves, then it's like, all right, well, might as well do it with a friend. It's like that's what's going on subliminally, or what?
Right? Well, God didn't place us out here to be alone, you know. That solitary confinement and all that isn't good for the psyche. So, I mean, you try to find people that like to do what you like to do, you know. But
Humans are so weird.
not the fact that you have to do it with somebody else, you know. You could run solo as long as you want to, really.
Humans are so weird because it's like because we kind of established that's like the baseline of like I guess we're talking about friendship, but you can't just go up to someone and just like posit that like, hey, I like doing this. Do you like doing that? Yeah, I like doing that. Cool, let's do it together and be friends now. Like it doesn't like, but like obviously you can't do that. Like that wouldn't work. But at the end of the day, like that's what the road comes to. So it's weird that like we can't just go up to each other and do that, right? Like just directly like that.
Yeah, I think it's still like that though, because what's that called? It's like, you know, when like artificial conversations and kind of things, like just, oh, do you like it when it's sunny outside? Yeah, I like when it's sunny outside. And then can we be friends just because we both agree that we like it when it's sunny outside? You know, I think it like there's got to be that depth to it. If not, then it kind of all just falls apart. Like, cool, yeah, we agree on this one thing, but if there's not a good set foundation of other parts of it, of who we are or something like that, then yeah, it falls apart. Sure, we can agree on one thing, but how far would that take us?
What are you talking about? Building a friendship?
Yeah, building a friendship. I think it's got to be more than just I like going on hikes and you like going on hikes. So every other weekend we decide to go on hikes together. You know, I mean, eventually, if you hang around somebody enough, you'll eventually figure out other things that they like, maybe, and find similarities. I think that's a big part of friendship, though. It's just similarities that you build up.
I don't know if it's that deep because just let's just talk about regular friendship, not any sort of best friendship, but like I don't know if you put in your mind like your favorite thing to do, whatever it is, and it's
Sure.
like if you found someone who genuinely felt the same about your favorite thing, like wouldn't you automatically consider them your friend? I would. Like if I found someone who loved anime
I
as much
think,
as I did, I'd be like, oh
yeah,
yeah, that's my friend. I like that guy.
Right, you might like them, but that might just be acquaintance because that might be the only thing you guys bond over. You know, it might not be as deep as would you still trust that friend with knowing what your dreams and aspirations really are, like your future and stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, that's why I said just like regular friendship, like not best friendship or
So,
anything
like,
like that.
acquaintances, like, I'll hit you up whenever a new season drops and we'll talk about it real quick. But other than that, I mean, it's kind of like I said, that superficial or whatever you want to call it. There's no true depth to it other than outside of that one thing you guys bond over. It might be music and a new artist might drop something and you two talk about it for 5 minutes in passing and then that's it. Is that acquaintance or is that a friend? I don't think that's really a friend.
It's a good question. All right, here's my next one. Is avoiding negative people a form of wisdom or a form of avoidance?
I think it's the form of wisdom because you understand the energy and things like that that you allow around yourself and how that makes you feel or it affects you in the long term. It's wisdom, it's true intelligence, you know. A lot of times we can get this feeling too when someone walks into the room and maybe the aura or whatever it might be carries that energy. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna avoid this cat, you know. I think
It
it's
is a
wisdom. I think it's smart.
yeah, it is a trick question though, because it's both, right? It's wisdom and you are avoiding them.
Well, yeah, of course, naturally, you know. Yeah, that part is given away in the first part of the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I don't know. That's a trick question.
I
Do
think it's
people,
intelligent to do. I think it's smart. If it is avoidance or whatever, yeah, sure. But I think it's smart to do. It's protecting your own energy.
is there any weakness in it, or could there be any weakness in it?
Nah, I don't think so. I think it shows being noble because it's like, well, I'm a wolf and I watch out for the company that I keep. And if I got somebody that's about to drag me down or something crazy, then I know for a fact that that's not who I want around me. You know,
Yeah.
I think it's noble and it's smart because if you allowed anybody into your circle and they can crash you out in no time at all, and then the big goal that you were working hard towards, maybe you were working hard towards it for 7 years, then you jumped into this circle with this one person and then threw it all away. Now you got a felony. You can't freaking feed your family properly or nothing. You know, you're limited to jobs or resources. No, that's terrible.
I got another trick question. If you become like those around you, how much of your identity is truly your own?
Yeah, none. If your identity, none, buddy. If your identity is being forged or formed based off of things around you, yeah, no way. I mean, that's not really you. Whatever that might even mean, you got to figure out what you truly means. And I think that goes into the discussion of, well, what do you stand for when nobody else is around you? What are you going to allow happen to you or things like that, you know?
Kind of ties into the next one. Do people shape us more through what they say or through what they embody?
What they say or what they embody. What do you mean by embody? Is that how you act or is that what you mean? Your actions? Well, your actions always prove who you really are.
I mean, it's like we can use us
Talk
for
is cheap.
example.
Talk is cheap, buddy. I mean,
Talk's not cheap. Let's say that.
you don't think so? I mean, you could say some wild stuff, but if your actions aren't really lining up with that wild stuff, buddy, I mean, that's just being fake. That's fraud. That's fraudulent.
Talk, talk is. If talk is cheap, then what's valuable?
Hmm. Well, it would
And you
be
could
the
say action.
actions. Yeah, it would be your actions. That's what's valuable because your
It's
actions
good.
will allow you to be a free man or not.
It's good, and I agree. But it's funny. The world's obviously super complicated, combinatory explosive, whatever. But it's funny because action. There's a lot of value in action, but unless you told someone about the action, then it really doesn't really matter that much, which is funny.
You think that your actions have to be spoken? I don't know. I think that's kind of crazy.
I wouldn't say spoken, but you let's say there's two worlds. There's a world where you do action, and there's a world where you do the action, and then you told someone or talked about it. I think that world has more value than just doing it.
Okay, where's your Bugatti then? And your action proves to me what you've been doing for the last 10 years. You know what I mean? I think that action means a lot. If you buckle
Well,
down and chase some of your dreams, aspirations, and things like that, then your action doesn't have to be told.
well,
No
no,
one's
no, no, no.
looking at it.
I'm not. The dichotomy for me isn't there's a world with no action and you just speak, and there's a world where there is action and you don't speak. What I'm putting against each other is there's a world where you do action and you speak about the action, and then there's a world where you do action and you don't speak about the action. The world where you do the action and speak about it is there's it's more valuable than just doing the action. And then for your analogy, it'd be like if you got a Bugatti but kept it in the garage and never took it out.
Yeah, but
I'm not saying that
it's
that has no
still there.
value.
Then I can still
Well, yeah, exactly.
tell you about it.
Exactly.
Cool. You guys don't know
Well,
me for a
exactly.
squat. I could be like, yo, I got 6 Bugattis outside right now and a McLaren. Now what? But my
No,
talk
well,
is
that's
cheap. It's not there.
no. I'm not. You're talking about something else. I'm not saying that there's no value in having a Bugatti and having it and not showing anyone. I'm not saying that there is value in it. I'm just saying that the more value is having it and talking about it. It's just how humans work, dude. I don't get it either. It's weird, but
Yeah, I don't know. I almost disagree with it anyway. I mean,
well,
like, what if you were like a no-name boxer, right? But you have 8 title belts, but you don't tell anybody about these title belts. Then was all that hard work that you put in and all of the achievements that you just got out of it, was it now worthless because you didn't post it on Instagram?
here's what I think you're doing, and then hopefully you'll agree, and then you can see that we're talking about something else. What it seems like you're trying to do is you're taking an action and then talking about that action, and then you're trying to separate them, and you're trying to have one side where there's the action, and then you're trying to have one side where there's just the words with no action. I'm
Mhm.
not trying. That's not what I'm trying. I'm not trying to compare those because I agree, right? Obviously, the action is better than no action, but tons of words. I'm not using those two.
Mm,
I'm using action and words together as an argument, and then on the other side, just the action, no words.
mhm,
The action with the words behind it is more valuable than just doing the action in silence. I mean, one, humans are so funny, but and you probably realize this too, but a lot of the times when you do actions with no words, nobody knows you've done it.
and I think that's a good thing. But I mean, I guess I agree with you. It's like if you tell
It's
your
good. It's
spouse
just
that
not better.
you plan on doing the dishes and then you don't do the dishes and they come home, now you're a fraud, right? Like you lied to them, you deceived them in some way because they had an expectation as well, and you didn't fulfill the expectation. But that's the only way that I could really like link these two together in my head because it's like if you're not gonna do it, then what was the point in saying you were gonna do it? It's like going to get an oil change, saying you're gonna go get an oil change, but you never do. It's like, well, then what was the point of, or setting a dentist appointment with the doctor and then never showing up? It's like, well, then what was the point, kind of thing. But
Yeah,
I don't know. I
that
guess that it's the only way I can really link these two is like,
well,
well,
that part
like
that side is dead, right? Only a fool would argue that there's value in that.
exactly.
Or
But crazy
well,
anyway.
that's not what I'm trying. That's not what I mean. I'm fudge that side. That's stupid. No,
Yeah.
not only is there no value in that, you can't even relate it to what we're talking about. That's stupid. Just doing action in silence and then doing action and letting people know, the know and action is just better. It's like what we talked about with the good. It's like, can you do good if other people don't see it as good? You said no, right?
Right.
Can you do valuable action as other people don't know that you've done the valuable action? You need someone else to call the action valuable for it to have value, right?
Right. I do agree with that too.
Yeah, or you could just be doing a bunch of action, could be harming people in that action, and whether you told people you did it or not, it doesn't have much value. unless they said, "Hey, you know what? That action's super valuable, man. Thanks." And it's like, okay, cool. Now it's more valuable than you not having their discretion or their discernment to determine if your action was actually good or not.
Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, if that's the side of this discussion that it goes down, of course I agree with that. But yeah, I don't know, just wording it that way in two separate sentences, I don't know. It's just like, I don't know. I mean, I
I think
guess
you
the
should
answer
always.
would be of course. It should be of course then, right? Like,
I think you should always tell people when you do action. I mean,
yeah,
you don't want to talk a big game, right, and not deliver, or maybe you
right.
can tell them after you've done it. But I think you should always tell someone when you've done action.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's like that anyway, because it's like, well, then why in the world? Because I don't know.
It's
There's a
because we
lot
wouldn't
of
notice the action. It's the reason why it's like that is because unless someone told us about the action, we just wouldn't notice it. There's too much to pay attention to, right? It's too much detail going on. I can't be paying attention to your actions. You tell me the action, but I can't see it.
yeah, I could agree. I wonder what actions are that important, you know?
Worth telling.
Yeah.
I you know how my brain works. I'm happy. I'm kind of proud that it works that way. What I would say to that is the flip it, and that's what you said is how most people's brains work. I don't know what it is about but your question was what action is worth talking about? The
Mm,
better question is what actions are not worth talking about?
mm,
So if you can't answer that question, which I probably couldn't either, or not really well, that should just dismiss your question. Like our brain
yeah,
always goes there. But it's
yeah.
like if I
I
can't come up
guess,
with an argument for my own question, then it's just a
yeah,
stupid question.
yeah.
Not
I guess
stupid, but
my only response would be, is it worth telling anybody that you've done the right thing, like going to work and getting there on time? Or I
see,
don't even know.
why not tell them? Exactly.
I don't know because it was an achievement. Why not?
Yeah, why not? Why not tell them?
Because it can't be damning to tell them. You
There's
know what
no
I'm
good
saying?
answer. I don't think at
Yeah.
least.
Well, I mean, it couldn't be a negative thing to tell them. You know, it could be the same reason. Well, I mean, I guess it could go into, oh, I'm trying to show you what my character is, kind of thing of like, oh, look, I'm early to work. You wouldn't tell anybody if you were late.
I don't get it. Are you answering your question, your own question, or my question?
I'm not
I
even
think your own
sure. I'm
question.
kind of just, yeah, more of my own. I'm just rambling here because it's like, well, would you tell people if you're late to work? Like, usually, think about it. If you're early to work, you walk in, you're in a good mood, you're like, yo, I'm here. And then whenever you're late to work, you duck behind shelves and you're like, yo, let me sit there and clock in before anyone notices. I don't know. That's just kind of where my mind goes on it. Like the actions of how you're acting in the lifetime, you know?
Man, I kind of got lost for a second, but it's like a it's like a schematic way to think. And asking questions is really since we talk about how there's an infinite amount of you call it perspectives, right? There's an infinite amount of perspectives. So the only way you guess you can call it grow is by asking yourself the right question because that will put the spotlight on the relevant details because there's infinite details so we can't go
Mhm.
scanning all of them.
Yeah.
So when I have something and then I ask a really good question, then I can put it into frame more and then I can get closer to the truth of it. This can't get to the absolute truth but closer to it. So where I'm going with this is with the questions that you asked, and it happens a lot and I do it too. It's natural. I think it's in our culture. An example of it, when people say, "Oh, nothing matters in 2,000 years," people say that.
Yeah, because we'll all be dead.
Exactly.
Even 100 years.
And what you do with that is you say, "Oh, well, the same is true in reverse." nothing that happens 2,000 years from now matters to me. So what that means is I shouldn't care what happens in 2,000 years. Just like how what happens in 2,000 years doesn't care about me.
Mm,
So really what that does is it negates that first question
mm.
of like, oh, nothing matters in 2,000 years. Yeah, well, neither does that matter to me. So it was just a stupid thing to say. Not because stupid's even relative or perspectival or whatever, but it's just not intelligent to say, right? Because it's the same in reverse. If they
Sure.
don't care about me, why should I care what happens in 2,000 years and use that as a reason to not do something? Or like, however, those people are using it in context.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you only live once. Why should I, I shouldn't care about that. And it's just not intelligent. So it's
I
like the
agree
same.
with you. It isn't intelligent because that just means that your impact isn't large enough because there's things from 200 years ago that we're still studying today. The pyramids, freaking Easter Island, all kinds of stuff. So maybe you're just not trying to leave a big enough fingerprint of your existence for that to matter in 2000 years.
I don't know. It's like the meaning that you're talking about just then. It's like, but it's not nothing we could really have, right? We can never have meaning, right? We can only continue to keep searching for it.
No, I think that we're supposed to try to figure out how to leave it, just like those guys did, the Mayans and everyone else, because we're still studying it, and those guys haven't even existed for 2,000 years, or at least I don't know. I'm no historian, sorry.
Hmm. All right. I guess I agree with that. I do agree with
Yeah,
that.
we're doing ourselves a disservice because people that lived and left a big enough fingerprint are still being talked about.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Nietzsche said probably would say the average man uh, can't or isn't meant to do that. Anyways, what does uplifting actually mean? Growth, comfort, or an alignment?
I don't know, but I'm about to argue with Nietzsche anyway because who the heck wants to be the average man, dude? Fudge that, pack that up, get that out of here, dude. Average man? Are you crazy? Who in the world? Sorry, ask your question again because my brain was about to freaking explode if I didn't say that.
It's funny, you know, Nietzsche, I believe he calls it the last man. And it's kind of exactly how he says, like, basically, kind of in context, he'd be like, oh, like, the last man was already made, and we're all just copies of him. And by that, he
Dude,
just
if
means we're all none of us are unique. We're all just that same
carbon
whatever.
copy, yeah, sure, fine. But if I don't freaking leave something of myself behind here before I die, I should have killed myself at 12. Fudge
Yeah.
that, dude. I just don't believe it.
Well, where he goes with that is exactly kind of like, that's kind of where he goes. He's like, all right, well, we should try to be exceptional then. Like we should only a select few will be able to become exceptional and all this blah blah blah. But the question was, what does uplifting actually mean? Growth, comfort, or alignment?
Growth, teaching maturity.
Why not? Why that one over the other two? Over comfort or alignment?
I don't know exactly what you mean by alignment. What the heck? Aligning with the stars? What are you talking about? Alignment. What do you mean? Chakras?
I mean, I guess it would depend on how we define uplifting,
But then isn't
right?
that the second one of comfort?
Well, how I'm defining uplifting, because it's pretty broad, I just took it as like, I don't know, interpersonal relationships. Like, oh, I have a relationship with this person. It's a positive, uplifting type of relationship or bond or friendship or whatever.
So it sounds like comfort to me. Sounds like another way to say comfort with alignment. But I'm still saying it's the path of maturity. That's that's what it's all about, really, is getting somebody else up there is, because how in the world would my clan, my clique, or whatever you want to call it, my group or my posse, how would we all be on the same level if one person's not as mature as the rest of them?
Yeah, I want to get into this. I'll ask the next question because it's tied to it, and then we'll get into it more. Can
All right,
someone
you ask the
cha-
question.
can someone challenge or destabilize you and still be considered uplifting?
Challenge, yes, but the second part, the stabilize or whatever you said, no way. How in the world? Because I believe in what's that called? Criticism. I believe in criticism. That can be a good thing. But disabling, like crippling them, that doesn't even make sense because you're not going to uplift them from there. You can criticize them, you know.
I guess my next question is there any other way to make, or don't take me literal, but is there any other way to make people grow without whatever you call it, that challenge or whatever?
No way. Like I
Is it
said, I mean, not challenging to the point to where you're freaking crippling them and they feel discouraged, you know. But a challenge is a good thing. It's I think that's the epitome of what we have to do.
how
It
do you
isn't
challenge
like
a friend?
giving you the answers is not very conducive, I guess I should say.
How do you challenge your friends?
Get them on
Generally,
Scoom Speech and ask them a bunch of questions. And hopefully they go down the rabbit hole of maturity, you know. You challenge them by, not tearing them down, calling them names, but you challenge them and you see what their answer might be or whatever you're trying to figure out, right? Or maybe it's a gym task or something like that. You challenge them. You try to make them push bigger weight, and build their body or whatever it might be, but you don't discourage them and if it is, bodybuilding, you're not going to call them names and tell them they're never going to achieve something. You tell them keep trying. I think that's a very important part of life right there.
random, but I heard something a couple days ago, and it's like, oh, like how do you get someone to tell you what's in their head? And they're like, oh, well, you say words. And then they're like, well, no, you don't even say words. You make sounds. So I was like thinking, like, man, like, yeah, we don't even, are we even saying words or are we just making sounds with our mouth? I guess it's kind of a dumb question, but, or is it?
I don't believe in dumb questions. But if you don't understand the language, isn't it all just sounds anyway?
Even if you understand the language, it's just like, I'm not telling you words. I'm making sounds with my mouth, dude, right? Aren't I technically?
Well, yeah, if you want to get very technical with it, if we didn't have a mouthpiece or like teeth to make specific sounds, there's something inside of the vocal cords that literally just vibrate, and that's it. And then at the different tone, if I'm yelling at you or if I'm talking to you in a low, chill voice, then you kind of get the vibe of what's going on. If you're in danger or maybe doing something wrong, right? Like somewhere in there, it triggers some kind of neurons in our brain and we respond to those that way. So yeah, I mean everything's just sounds. Even if you didn't even understand the words I was saying, you would go based off the tone and probably my aura, the way I'm making you feel based off my energy.
All right. And my last question, can you remain unchanged in a destructive environment, or is the influence inevitable?
The influence is inevitable in a destructive environment. What happens is our brain starts to just shut down and like we don't feel like we have that escape, you know, no no way to get away or build. It's like being trapped. And then eventually, I mean, you only react, and that's usually a negative thing, unless if it's considered rebellion. But I mean, isn't that isn't that action even kind of crazy? Like why did someone have to get to that point to where they have to harm somebody or put themselves in immediate danger? So yeah, I think that it's inevitable to just, eventually turn or change for the worst, or you must separate yourself, I would say immediately. The same reason why we talk women out of those relationships when they're getting beat up by their mans, and they're like, oh, but I have feelings for him and all this crazy stuff. What's that called? You start making excuses for him and stuff like that. All you do is enable it, and that's just chaotic. It's crazy. The best thing to do is get away from it. Unless if not unless, but if you don't get away from it, then it is inevitable that you're going to become something that you don't want to become.
And I guess it shows like humble and maturity and wisdom. With that said, it's it's not hard for you to say that.
Going through it, of course, is hard to say it, no, because everything looks great on paper, but with emotions in the way and all this other stuff, it's not easy to do, to just
What I
separate
meant
yourself
is
from a place where you maybe once felt comfort or something and then it betrayed you.
what I meant is by hard to say. It's not hard for you to. You're probably speaking like the real reality of it and the truth. It's not admit or label frame that it is inevitable that you will be influenced in a destructive environment. That's not hard to admit. Which
No
again
way
probably
that
shows
isn't.
wisdom and stuff.
Yeah, no way it isn't hard to admit. I've been through it in two different forms. Um, you know,
Isn't that
I
more
don't want
reason to not admit it?
no way because
Yeah.
so what? You know? Oh well. Dude, everything I just said, there's probably a large percentage of women that have felt that way at one point or another, but dude, they brainwash themselves to
Why are you bringing
one
it
day
there?
it'll end, or well, the only thing I can really think of immediately is like an abused spouse, basically.
Hmm.
And usually domestic violence is, well, I don't want to say usually because it really, usually silently, it really is the man in the relationship that gets the most abuse in domestic violence situations. But it's always framed, um, society norms as it's always the woman, but it's a whole different debate, honestly.
Huh. Yeah, I'm sure. I guess you're right. I don't know. It's hard to admit, though. I mean, maybe I'm just not mature enough yet, but it's hard to admit
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. I've got court findings on it. So,
Well, I'm not talking about abuse at all. I just meant
well, that would
like
be a destructive habitat, if you will, however you worded it.
you wouldn't like to think for yourself or about yourself that no matter the environment, it wouldn't influence you negatively.
No way. You end up building animosity and things like that. Like it's just natural. Being
What
mistreated
happened?
and uh
I'm just teasing here, but what happened to the choice that we always talk about? And again, I'm just teasing
yeah,
because
the choice is to leave. The choice is that you are a human being and you don't deserve to be treated that way. It's the same reason why, everybody fought against Jim Crow and all this other stuff. Those were also human beings, dude, and they didn't deserve to be treated the way they were being treated either. It's the reason
I
why
just
we believe in free America the way we do.
it's interesting that you just bring it to like morality, like good versus evil.
Yeah, and you always have the freedom to leave. If you're being mistreated and you know what they say, it's like the punishment doesn't fit the crime. Well, if you're a good spouse, either gender, why in the world should you come home to a place that you're afraid of being in? You don't feel safe in your home. If you don't feel safe in your home, it's best choice to leave. That's your freedom right there. That's the choice. Who
Well,
knows? One day that other partner that is treating you poorly could snap and kill you. It could be that last, hit with the frying pan. It could be that last straw. Who knows what's
well,
going on in the head? You don't really know.
well. For a sec, can we kick any sort of criminal activity out of the conversation because,
So not physical, but just mental.
well, yeah, anything that's not a crime. It's a kind of an outlier, and
I think if there isn't any form of crime against humanity being committed, then you're not going to feel uncomfortable in that situation.
oh, it be cut out for a sec.
I said without any form of crime against humanity, which would be you individually or myself individually, then there would be no reason to feel um, discomfort in that situation. You would only feel if they weren't mentally tearing you down, 7 ways to Sunday, then there would be no reason to adapt in a negative way.
Let me frame it differently and be more specific. So what we're talking about was what we're now going to talk about is an environment that's not criminal, that is negative, and you being in the environment inevitably or not being influenced in a negative way by the negative environment. Now, to get put a whatever analogy on it, imagine it's a place that you work at. There's nothing criminal going on, just a
Mm,
negative place,
mm.
negative whatever people. Is it inevitable for you to be influenced negatively in that environment? And if so, what happened to the choice? And not the choice of leaving, but the choice of having autonomy in that negative environment of yourself and your emotions and all that.
Okay, so if it's a place of work, we see this often is where if you're working with a bunch of people that maybe it doesn't have to be a bunch, it just has to be one main leader, right? Say it's the big boss, the schedule manager or store manager or whatever it might be. If this person doesn't have, I want to say, good communication or they're known to be rough around the edges, I mean, it builds anxiety. You don't know how they're going to react to certain things. And it's
Before we get too abstract,
okay.
are you saying it's inevitable that we'll be influenced negatively? And if so, tell me why.
Well, maybe not for everybody, but if you're an empathetic person, then yeah, definitely you're gonna take those vibes that they're throwing out, and they're gonna affect you in one or the other ways. Either you're gonna adapt their mindset, and if they hate themselves, then I guess you will too. Or if they hate other people, then you'll probably eventually adapt that mindset after a long period of time to maybe not like the same people.
All right,
Yeah,
I get your point.
I think it's inevitable. I really
Yeah.
do. I think that it has to do with the influence of man.
All right, let me ask you another question then. And it's teasing, right? As in, like, I'm already gonna think what I think, and then you're gonna think what you think. So I'm just playing with it.
Hey,
Where's
pause.
the, okay? Where's the choice in that, and not the choice to leave and go find a new job?
No,
That's a cop out.
I think the choice is dwindled after a over
Someone
long
else
period of
takes your
time.
choice away from you. It's your choice, and you're saying someone robs your choice, takes it from you.
I think that you end up adopting a lot of their personality or whatever that might be over time.
Did that person choose to do that?
Oh no, I don't think it has something to do with anybody willfully choosing anything. I think that it's more of like rubbing off on. It's not so much of a choice, but over time you just naturally adopt those things. Maybe you don't even notice it.
Is it if I if I continue to
Yeah, ask any
question?
question you want. I think
So,
that
well, let me ask it. Let me ask it. I just want to make sure I heard you right. I'll read back what I think you said. Basically, it's inevitable. There's no choice in it, is basically what you said, right? In a nutshell.
I think the choice is there, but you don't notice the change.
All right. I work with that. The choice is there. You don't notice the change. Where did all the self accountability go?
Hmm.
And my self
Maybe
accountability to
maybe
hold
balled
myself
up.
accountable in my responsibility.
Yeah, maybe balled up in anger or repression. I think it's repression.
Is that a choice?
Yeah, of course.
So it's all a choice then.
Everything's a choice.
Well, I don't know. You said that. I was thinking you were saying that, and I'm just messing around with it because what do we know, right? But and I'm only mostly doing this because I don't know if I could admit that. It's hard to admit. Well, for you it wasn't, but it's hard to admit. Like, are we really? Like, use you for example. Are you really going to succumb to a negative environment and become a negative person yourself just because of your negative environment? Are we that? Are we as
No,
humans, or you
every
specifically?
every time I've been in those situations, I had to separate myself just because the amount of repressive energy, it didn't turn me to a negative person, but it made me not like myself because I didn't like the environment I was in.
And that's smart. Obviously, that's smart and it worked. But I'm talking more hypothetical. In a situation that hypothetically you didn't choose to leave, could you persevere? And like that's all I meant. It's like I'd it'd be hard for me to admit that I couldn't. But maybe that's the reality. Maybe we know how humans work. Like we are products of our environment. We are who we are in the situations that we're in. But I don't know. How do you admit that?
So, has anybody ever frustrated you before? Or you don't feel frustration? You don't feel anger or annoyance with another person if they're just being completely ignorant and acting out of character, acting crazy for no reason.
I mean, I've been those things, and I've been in negative environments, but I've never felt negative about that.
Yeah. Have you ever felt like you had to separate yourself from that negative environment to maybe thrive or mature in a
No
better
way,
way?
no way, no way.
No.
Thank God, no way.
Yeah. Well, I guess maybe then that's
How
the
can they?
difference. Ah,
How can they? Right? I've
every
been
day is
in
a beautiful
jobs.
day, right?
Yeah, I've been in jobs where people have hate the job, right? They hate the job. They hate having to work. They hate, you know, all the unfairness. Blah 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 blah. Why do I care? You hate your job. I
Yeah.
don't care what you feel about your job, dude. What?
Yeah.
Right? What the hell do I care about you?
I definitely agree. And, you know, I wouldn't say that it changed me so much, but it definitely made me want to separate from being there because I can go and have a better day without getting yelled at for no reason, you know? I don't
It's
know. I
funny.
feel like you end up relating to an abused puppy, you know? You get thrown into a cage and screamed at and told you're ugly and useless, and then you're like, "Well, I don't wanna be here." What the heck? Would that dog wanna be there? Probably not.
I mean, because it becomes a trap at that point, right? Because we talk about how there's infinite detail, infinite, whatever algorithmic calculations to get to detail, but you could do that with every scenario. So it's like any job you work at, you could always find the negatives. Any room you can find negatives. Any situation you're in, you can find negatives. So it's like, yeah, if you're gonna like play that game, it's like it's right. It's like, do you kind of get what I mean by that?
Yeah. But what if you find the negative is one thing, one common thing, and something that you do have control to change? Would you not change that negative? pack that up, get it out of here so I can be back at peace, maturity and growing.
I mean, obviously now this is just a little bit like right. Everyone's different. So for me, it's like I'm just, like I have positive. Like you can find just like the negatives. Like I can find like three positives in this situation. That one, this one, that one. All the positive
Yeah.
stuff in the future. Like because now I can just play that game, and now I'm just I got yeah. I could always. I guess this is how my brain works now. I can always outnumber the positives with the negatives I can find, or I just don't spend as much time finding the negatives and I spend the time on finding the positives or something.
Yeah, maybe that's true. Maybe it's a defense mechanism of mine to find the negative and find out, okay, how can I get rid of that one negative thing or whatever it might be
No,
to be
I don't
on the
think
other
so.
end
No,
of it.
no, I
No,
don't
it's
think
not a
so.
defense mechanism.
Nope. You know why?
Why?
Exactly how this question started. And it's unfortunate and it's our culture, but it's because the negative, it's influential.
Mm,
It's conditioned. It becomes conditioned in you through people in your environment, right? They're looking at negatives. They're talking about negatives. They're talking about negatives. I now see negatives. I now think negatively. We all now subconsciously or sometimes together in the break room or during lunch, all we talk about is all the negative craps about our job.
mhm,
It's influence. It's influential. It's the herd mind, right? If the last 200 years, our ancestors what because things have changed now in the last 20 years or our parents talked about all the positive stuff in their heads and their minds and their environments, we'd be doing the same too now, but that's not where our culture's gone. It's not
yeah,
it hasn't been it's not influential or whatever now.
yeah, everybody finds the negatives in everything. I wish I could say my parents talked about the positive things, dude. I don't think I've heard a positive thing out of anybody that I'm around. Well, not currently, but growing up, dude, pack that up, buddy. Everybody was negative. They all hated their lives. Talking about, dude, if I could change anything in the world, I'd go back and never have you as a child. You know what I'm saying? Like it was crazy.
Yeah, I was actually asking this myself with ChatGPT because that's like an intoxicating thing, like being able to like I guess you I don't know abstract and like find all the negatives, deconstruct everything, and yeah, I don't know what it is about our culture, but and we've talked about this in the past with like motor engines. Like it's great to be able to take an engine piece by piece apart, but the best is to be able to take it apart and then build it back together, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the same thing with this. Like it's great to walk into a room, be a freaking scout and hyper aware, notice all the negative things in the environment. But if you can't take them all and then bring it to a whole, a good whole, a positive whole, a divine whole, a sacred whole, a heavenly whole, just a whole that's good and always good,
Mm-hmm.
then well, you're just Luciferian, an intellect, right? That's what they said the devil was. He was just he was
Mm-hmm.
too smart for his own good. And yeah, he could never bring all of it together and then make it into something good.
Right.
And yeah, our culture is it's just falling in love with that. It's intoxicating. It's power, right? I can find 20, I can break it all apart. I can just break it all apart, break it all apart, break it all apart, break it all apart. And yeah, people, I don't know what it is. I'm still trying to figure out, but it's intoxicating for some reason. I guess it has to do with power. I don't know. I don't get it.
I don't know. Do you think it would be power if it was all only in the name of vain? I don't think
Well,
it would
no,
be powerful.
well, no. Use the car engine thing in this analogy because you love cars. Like, would you find it powerful if you knew how to take apart a freaking I don't know 2JZ engine? If you could take it all apart perfectly and name every piece, would you consider yourself powerful? I imagine, yeah, right. You know your stuff.
Sure, but
Yeah.
at what
Oh yeah.
point? Because now it's just a bucket of bolts on the floor. It's not. You're not going to get the enjoyment now out of it that it would have if it was all one piece.
Well, I didn't know how to pretext it like this, but to answer that, imagine the goal was to take it apart, and then
Oh,
you actually could fulfill that goal. competently, would you consider that to be a powerful, a powerful, I don't know.
I mean, deconstruction is one thing. I think anybody could take anything apart, can't they?
Hmm.
Making it do what it's supposed to do is that's even more impressive. Turn a calculator into a remote control for your TV. There you go. Now we're talking. You know.
Well, I don't mean like destroy. I don't. Yeah, I don't mean destroy when I mean deconstruction.
No, I know. I was bagging that part as well. That
Yeah.
it could be rebuilt and put back together and then enjoy it again. But I think the 2J engine was just a beautiful work of art, and it looked great on paper. And it was even more fun once it was all together as one. Slammed into the right car. Any car
Well,
ever.
well, that's why. Yeah, that's why it's funny though, and it's an oxymoron, and it's the same with words, with letters and words. Like you said, it's beautiful when it's apart. If you don't know every part individually, you can't build it. So it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg?
Yeah,
Did
sure.
did the knowledge that it takes to deconstruct it, not break it or destroy it, but deconstruct it and know all the pieces intimately, does that come first? Or, well, no, it had to come first, right? If I don't know each part on its own,
Yeah,
I
right.
can't.
You don't
Yeah,
know.
so
Yeah, I agree. You got to start someplace, right?
that's why I link it to power. That's why I think it's linked to power because, yeah, if I don't know every single little piece, I can't even make it. So
Yeah.
that's why I think our culture kind of falls in love with it because it's like, all right, well, I know every little thing about this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spend the time putting it together and making it beautiful. I don't have to because I already know everything there is to know about it. I know every little piece intimately.
Sure.
And I think that's a powerful feeling for people.
So if you know what it takes to build a powerful regime, just because you know what it takes to build a powerful army, now you don't do it?
I mean, because now, right, I'm talking for the zeitgeist, I'm talking for the culture, but I just give you my theory. Basically, I think the answer is kind of what I said. It's like, put it together. I already know everything there is to know about it. There's nothing about building a regime that I don't already know. What's the point of me making one? I know everything. Like that's literally the Luciferian intellect. I'm sure you've probably heard that before. That's literally Lucifer's soul. He knows everything. There's nothing he doesn't know. He's like this obviously is wrong, but that's what Satan thinks he is. He thinks he knows everything. He knows everything.
Sure.
And yeah, so it's like, yeah, build the regime. What are you talking about? So I
Okay.
think
So
people
if
get
we,
in that embodied feeling by deconstructing it, by taking it all apart, by nitpicking it, breaking it down into detail, abstracting it.
right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, but I just don't know if that's true, why we aren't further ahead as humans as we are, man. I want to see you as a telegram or, what do they call that? Cyborg right here on my laptop keypad instead of on my screen. Like, if they could take it apart, let me see that happen. Like, yo, I want to put in ChatGPT, I want a specific meal, and then boom, it appears on my keyboard, and I could just eat that. Like, no Uber Eats or DoorDash. But instead, we're so infatuated with taking things apart that we're gonna hold ourselves back from. Oh, well, why would I build that regime if I already know what it takes to build a perfect regime? It's like, well, okay, but until I see it, where's that Bugatti at? If you could build a Bugatti, why isn't it in your living room? I don't know. There's so much to it that it makes sense. Yeah, sure. But like, why aren't we further ahead as we visually see that we are right now? Why are we just now getting to robots if we knew everything about it 100 years ago?
That is good. And I can tell that you're locked in. So there's a couple ways to go here. One, as we know, because right, we kept calling it the Luciferian intellect, and I'm assuming you know what I mean by that, right?
Mhm.
So, we're getting kind of religious now, all things do, but was Lucifer right in those stories, or is Lucifer right? Of
Nah.
course not. He doesn't know everything. That's the whole point. So, in some sense, that answers your question, right? We
Okay.
embody that spirit of Lucifer, thinking we know everything, and then whatever you want to call it, the world comes along, God comes along, he says, "Funny, you don't know everything."
So
Hence why,
humility. Okay.
hence, hence why you got to climb up that spiral slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly and slowly, infinitely. If you
Yeah.
don't do that, you're always going to be stuck right where you're at, not growing. And
Right.
then the other aspect of that, and I just found this out. This is good. Basically, pride that man has, that showed in the Adam and Eve story, is that basically it's exactly kind of what we're talking about. He thinks he's more than what he is. He thinks he's greater than what he is. And yeah, that's what, I guess that's what pride does to, man or masculinity or whatever in the story. But it's the same with this. We get a bunch of pride. We use that pride to think that we can know everything there is to know in this world. The world comes harshly and shows us that we're wrong. And if you can continue on that cycle, yeah, you end up never doing anything great, never building anything, never answering the questions that you were asking. You end up never doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And this is more of like a right newer phenomenon, right? It's only recently did more or less religion kind of died in some sense. Religion's taking a back seat, and now people are trying to find a new god, not God, but just something to put at their top, you know, value structure or whatever.
Yeah. They'll
And
continue
and
to
right now,
they'll
and I
continue
was
to
just
come
saying,
Apollo. Sorry.
I was just saying, right now it's intellect.
Oh, okay, interesting. Well, I mean,
Yeah,
even in still, you'll come Apollo on that as well. If it isn't the divine and the one and only, then you'll come Apollo on it every time.
yeah. I mean, you'll notice it now. Hopefully, I hope that you'll notice it now that I said it. But yeah, and I guess it's specific for men, but yeah, the more pride they have, the more they think they know everything.
No, it does make sense, of course, and that's why I always respected the people with humility more so because, yeah, pride is it really that doesn't that doesn't sit well with me, and I can see through it fast. Bothers me, and that's why a lot of the people I surround myself around are just humble, you know,
It's a touchy
humble,
subject.
humble learners. I guess you could say.
It's a touchy subject because I mean, to try to word it as just straight to the point as I can, it's like, can what? Yeah, I don't know. What good man doesn't have pride? Or if you don't have things to be proud of, are you a good man?
Or are you working hard enough?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good. Yeah, boom. What's
Yeah,
the answer? So it's like, yeah, what's the answer? It's a touchy subject. You need to have pride as a man, right? You always say, right? You got to know what you stand for.
gotta know what you stand for sure. But
That
does that look
needs.
like does that look like dying over physical objects have obtained, or standing for the values that you were raised upon in the proper way?
Means whatever you're proud of, you're willing, like you using your example, whatever you're proud of, you're willing to die for,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So it's a touchy subject. And it's the same with arrogance. It's like too much pride's bad, but you need pride. Too much arrogance is bad, but it could help you. So it's touchy.
Arrogance is, let's loop that to ego. Is that what you're saying? If you're
What's your question?
arrogant, arrogance, is this cocky or ego? What do you mean by arrogance? Pride? Is arrogance pride? Because I said arrogance equals cockiness, but is that not right? Is it more of pride? Arrogance is pride.
I mean, we could get into defining it, but I kind of just meant it kind of like how you said, as in the second time, as in just kind of more linking it to pride.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, no, I just wanted to bridge that gap is all.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't exactly sure. I've heard it used a few different ways, I guess you could say. So
Yeah. It's like,
pride and ego, is that what you were bridging those two? I'm trying to remember.
well, no, it's just, and it makes sense, but you were saying like, oh yeah, pride's not good. I try to, super not hard associate with people with too much pride. That was just whatever, like just offering, that other lens too of, like we said, like what good man doesn't have pride, or what good man isn't proud, or have pride or proud. What good man isn't proud of the things that he refuses to whatever step on or desecrate or destroy or protect. All that takes pride.
Mm.
So it's difficult. It's hard. It's touchy.
Hmm.
That's all. It's really touchy. And then and then I guess we end it with this, but I guess for a woman, when a woman has too much pride, I guess I guess they feel like they're right all the time. So like man thinks they know everything, but women feel like they know what's best. If that makes any sense.
Mm.
Yeah, it's weird.
I don't know.
Yeah.
With all
Yeah.
that being said, I'm definitely glad that I'm a secluse snail.
There you go.
Yeah, I just try to stay off of my own little cave, man. All that stuff is crazy anyway. Because how in the world do you know if you're dying for the right thing, right? And isn't that part of the journey of life? It's like, oh, well, how do I know if this is something I'm willing to die for, kind of thing? I don't know.
I would say only by going off your own pride meter or your own pride meter.
Yeah, but like, you think it's really worth if you get smoked over a necklace?
How proud of you were of you were the, how proud of you of the necklace were you?
Yeah, I guess that's your pride meter that you're talking about, right? If it's your wallet or your chain. I don't know,
Yeah, can you
man.
die for anything you're not proud about?
Yeah, right, exactly. I don't know,
Cool.
it's crazy.
All right, you ready to wrap up?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Everybody, don't forget to hit the like, subscribe button. We do upload every Thursday. Thank you guys for joining us. If you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns about anything we talk about here, drop it in the comments below. We do like to hear it. Other than that, this has been College on the Don on Scoom Speech. I'll catch you next week.